Hey everyone, welcome back to Genai's Tech News. I'm Genai, and we've got a packed show for you today. Let's kick things off with some rough news for European gamers. As reported by The Verge, Microsoft has finally revealed just how much Xbox prices are climbing in the EU and UK, and it is not pretty. We already knew about US price hikes announced back in June, but now the full picture is coming into focus. Depending on the model you're looking at, Xbox consoles are going up by as much as €200 or £170. The 1TB Xbox Series X with a disk drive is taking one of the biggest hits. For anyone who's been sitting on the fence about grabbing a new console, this news just made that decision a whole lot more urgent, or a whole lot more painful, depending on your wallet. Microsoft hasn't given a detailed breakdown of exactly why the hikes are this steep in Europe specifically, but with global supply chain pressures and currency dynamics at play, gamers on that side of the Atlantic are clearly bearing the brunt. Tough times for the Xbox faithful. Next up, if you've been thinking about picking up a MacBook Air, you might want to act sooner rather than later, or at least brace for some availability headaches. TechCrunch is reporting that the global memory chip shortage is now making its presence felt on Apple's most popular Mac. The MacBook Air has long been the go-to machine for students, professionals, and everyday users who want a solid Apple laptop without spending MacBook Pro money. But with memory chips in short supply worldwide, availability of the device is apparently starting to take a hit. This isn't just an Apple problem. The shortage is a global issue affecting the broader tech industry. But given how popular the MacBook Air is, any disruption to its supply chain is going to be widely felt. If you're planning a back-to-school purchase or just need a new laptop soon, it might be worth checking stock levels at your local Apple store or authorized retailers sooner rather than later. Chip shortages have a nasty habit of catching consumers off guard at the worst possible moments. All right, here's a story that has the entire tech world talking. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, the company literally racing to build artificial general intelligence, is now saying the industry should slow down. According to TechCrunch, on a recent episode of their Equity podcast, the conversation centered on Altman's public calls for the industry to, quote, pace the rate of AI development. Now, let's just sit with that for a second. This is the same person steering one of the most aggressive AI development programs on the planet. Some are calling it a genuine reckoning, a sign that even the people building these systems are getting nervous about the pace. Others are more skeptical, framing it as a classic pull-up-the-ladder move, where a dominant player calls for slowdowns once they're already ahead, making it harder for competitors to catch up. It's a debate that's been simmering in AI circles for years, but hearing it come from Altman gives it a whole new weight. Whether this signals real policy shifts or is just carefully positioned PR, it's a conversation the whole industry is now having out loud. Okay, this next one is really something. The CEO of Fender, one of the most iconic guitar brands in history, has been making waves for all the wrong reasons. The Verge is reporting that Fender CEO Edward "Bud" Cole gave an interview back and made a T3 magazine, celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Telecaster. And during that interview, he made some comments about AI and music that are now going viral, and not in a good way. Cole apparently suggested that human bandmates are essentially a form of analog AI, drawing a comparison between the way musicians collaborate and the way AI models process and generate. It's an eyebrow-raising take at the best of times, but it's landing especially badly because Fender is already dealing with a PR headache after angering its musician community with previous AI-related moves. Musicians are already on high alert about AI's role in their industry, so having the CEO of a legendary gear company effectively equate their human collaborators with machine intelligence is not the vibe. The comments initially flew under the radar, but have now started spreading fast, pouring fresh fuel onto an already raging fire. Switching gears to Android fans. If you've been keeping an eye on Google's upcoming Pixel 11 lineup, a new leak just dropped that fills in a lot of blanks. As covered by The Verge, a site called Android Headlines claims to have the full specs and pricing for the entire Pixel 11 family, and it largely confirms what the rumor mill has already been saying ahead of Google's August 12th reveal event. The headline number? The base Pixel 11 is expected to start at $899. That's a $100 jump compared to its predecessor. On the upside, it reportedly comes with 256 gigabytes of storage as the base configuration, which is a meaningful upgrade. The rest of the specs appear to line up with what other leakers have reported, so this is starting to feel less like speculation and more like a pretty reliable preview. August 12th isn't far away, so we'll have official confirmation very soon. But if you were budgeting for a new Pixel, make sure that extra $100 is accounted for. Now let's take a break from the drama and look way up, because the James Webb Space Telescope is doing things that are genuinely blowing scientists' minds. Wired has a fascinating deep dive into how Webb is fundamentally changing the way astronomers understand the ancient cosmos. From the formation of early galaxies to the very origins of the universe, the images and data coming back from Webb are giving cosmologists a treasure trove of new information to work with. And here's the thing. Some of what Webb is finding is challenging existing theories that have been in place for decades. When you can peer back billions of years into cosmic history with this level of clarity, it turns out the universe doesn't always behave exactly the way our models predicted. That's not a failure of science. That's science working exactly as it should. Every unexpected finding is a new question to answer, a new theory to build. Webb isn't just taking pretty pictures. It's genuinely reshaping our understanding of everything that came before us. Pretty extraordinary stuff. Here's a story at the intersection of AI, music, and online controversy. A track called Rubbers by rapper Phoenix Flexon, a member of Shoreline Mafia, has climbed all the way to number 58 on the Billboard Hot 100. But according to The Verge, almost as soon as it started charting, questions began swirling online about whether the song was largely created using AI. Listeners and music industry observers started flagging elements of the track that raised red flags, leading to widespread speculation that it might be what some are now calling AI slop. Music that's generated or heavily assisted by artificial intelligence tools rather than crafted through genuine creative effort. This is a debate that's going to define the music industry for years to come. If AI-assisted tracks can climb the charts without audiences even realizing it, what does that mean for human artists competing for those same spots? There's no final verdict yet on Rubbers, but the fact that the question is being asked at all about a top 100 charting song is a watershed moment. The line between human creativity and machine generation is getting harder to see, and that's making a lot of people very uncomfortable. We're wrapping up today's show with two stories that hit on the same theme: our complicated, sometimes uncomfortable relationship with AI in everyday life. First, Wired is reporting that new European Union rules are about to require that people be explicitly told when they're interacting with AI or viewing AI-generated content. Sounds reasonable, right? The catch is that AI is now so deeply embedded in so many products and services that experts are worried about disclosure fatigue. Basically, people seeing so many AI warnings that they start ignoring them entirely. The EU means well, but enforcing meaningful transparency at this scale is a genuinely hard problem. And speaking of complicated AI relationships, TechCrunch covered a remarkably candid moment from YouTuber Hank Green, who publicly admitted that his level of engagement with large language models has become, in his words, not healthy for him or for the world. Green described the dopamine hit he gets from interacting with AI chatbots as something he's genuinely concerned about. It's a refreshingly honest take in an era when tech enthusiasm is usually the default. When a creator with Green's reach and intelligence starts sounding the alarm about his own habits, it's worth paying attention. And that's a wrap on today's Genai Tech news. If you found this useful, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Stay curious out there.